June 21st, 2008, and a fat, lazy, English-speaking panda just set the Chinese internet and box offices on fire, ending up as the 6th highest grossing film of the year and the highest grossing film produced overseas. How did that happen? Well, according to Average Citizens, it's because, quote, many Chinese people are so busy worshiping Western trends that they overlook their own culture. Chinese people should try to observe themselves from the outside in order to get the essence of our culture. And that Chinese people are giving up the traditional culture left to us by our ancestors. Sooner or later, Chinese people will realize that the best things we have are the things we already have. And, quite simply, it was looking for flaws, but it was very authentic. It was such a big deal that even Chinese government committees debated about it and ultimately determined that they should probably just chill out with their censorship and just let people use their imagination. How about that? So, how was a silly children's cartoon authentic? First of all, it was down-to-earth and familiar to Chinese people. It talked about grassroots life in a relaxed way without being over-the-top or pretentious like a lot of domestic media at the time. The other top-grossing Chinese-themed movies of the year were all about fantastic immortals or epic battles of history. Kung Fu Panda, on the other hand, was simple and sincere. The setting was a pretty but unassuming countryside. The village looked rustic and worn. The main character, China's national symbol, was a silly, daydreaming slacker, and his dad was an eccentric, oblivious, noodle-making duck.
The goose.
That's far beyond what Chinese filmmakers of the time would have dared to do, and this resonated with people quite simply because it was real. Okay, well, I mean, it wasn't literally real, but the characters and locations weren't pompous and perfect, because life isn't perfect, and neither are we, and we don't always have to pretend to be otherwise. A Chinese animation professor put it succinctly, quote, if you asked a Chinese to make this movie, the panda needs to be lovable, but in a perfect sense. In the end, he would be so perfect, he would be unlovable. Which leads to my second point. In Chinese philosophy, a true, honest life is not about faking who you are or forcing something that isn't meant to be, which wasn't a direction that most other Chinese movies were going in. In Chinese culture, there's a common idiom from the 10th century, 顺其自然, which means to go along with nature or to go with the flow. Point 2, this doesn't mean there's no free will. We might as well give up on life. It's to say that we can't always choose the hand that fate deals us, but we can choose how we play our cards. When things aren't ideal, try to make the most of what you can in the moment. As Wu Gui told Po,
you are too concerned with what was and what will be.
And as Laozi says in the 44th chapter of the Dao De Jing, 知足不辱, 知止不殆, 可以长久. Who is content needs fear no shame. Who knows to stop incurs no blame. From danger free, long live shall he. Po wanted to run away from his seemingly impossible destiny, but ultimately let go of his doubts and went all in on his training, all the way to the point where he had the courage to face Tai Lung head on. But more importantly, this was Wu Gui's point here.
The panda will never fulfill his destiny, nor you yours, until you let go of the illusion of control.
Why? Well, as he repeats more than once,
there are no accidents.
Whatever should happen, will happen. In Master Shifu's case, he tries to deny and control fate, but that only makes things worse. I mean, after all, it was his need to control Tai Lung that freed Tai Lung in the first place, right? We'll get back to that. Basically, a big thing in Chinese culture is to be flexible and adaptable to better handle whatever life throws at you. Like Bruce Lee said,
"Do your mind be formless, shapeless like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend."
And what's the secret ingredient to being water? Well, put simply,
there is no secret ingredient. It's just you.
At face value, The movie uses the dragon scroll to signify that the answer to everything is believe in yourself.
It's blank.
But what it really signifies is actually, quite literally, self-reflection. Point 3. The concept of self-reflection, and by extension, self-cultivation, is a primary and constant tenet of Chinese philosophy. Again, Laozi, chapter 33. 知人者智，自知者明，胜人者有力，自胜者强. Understanding others is knowledge. Understanding oneself is wisdom. Conquering others is power. Conquering oneself is strength. China's many schools of thought all center around the cultivation of one's character. To do that, we need to learn to look at ourselves honestly and objectively, because a lot of life's problems are the result of our own flaws and weaknesses. And that's the Dragon Scroll's biggest secret, to get the wielder to look at and within themselves. Po needed to see that he was indeed the answer, that he was the dragon warrior. Tai Lung needed to see that his haughtiness and hatred were misguided. And Master Shifu, it is Master Shifu, right? Sorry. And Master Shifu needed to see that he had lost his way. I said we would get back to him. If anything, Master Shifu has the deepest and most complex character arc, even though he's not the main character. Po is simple and pure, so he just needed to believe in himself. Master Shifu, on the other hand, had lost faith in, well, everything, including Master Oogway. His regret, guilt, and fear made him impatient, impulsive, and blind. And it was these faults that directly led to Tai Lung's escape, which Oogway saw coming from the start.
One often meets his destiny on the road he takes to avoid it.
As the movie so very clearly illustrates, what Master Shifu always needed was inner peace. Point 4. When we can understand our flaws and cultivate our hearts, we will have the clarity and calmness to overcome any obstacle. And that is an absolutely, totally, 100% Chinese approach. Achieving internal tranquility and thus external harmony is the end goal of every school of Chinese philosophy, even if they take different paths to get there. In chapter 37, Laozi states, 无名之朴，夫亦将无余，不欲以静，天下将自定. A simplicity without a name is free from all external aim. With no desire, at rest and still, all things go right, as of their will. While Buddha once said, 坚定地学习，求得平静. Resolutely train yourself to attain peace. And Confucius sums it up as such, 内省不疚，夫何忧何惧? When internal examination discovers nothing, what is there to be anxious about? What is there to fear? Ergo, without anxiety and without fear, one can be at peace. One can be at peace. One can be at peace. Am I supposed to, look up when one can be at peace? Good point. So, Kung Fu Panda didn't resonate with people simply because of the Kung or the Fu or the Panda, because it was fundamentally relatable for ordinary people leading ordinary lives. Realistic imperfections, going along with nature, self-reflection, and finding harmony within oneself are things fundamental to the Chinese people, but were just not common in Chinese media at the time. So when they randomly appeared in a fun and fuzzy package from America of all places, everybody ate it up. And then they started thinking. And then they realized, hey, you know what? We've got some good stuff here. We should probably go back to our roots and stop trying to sugarcoat everything. And that's how China and its film industry had a bout of self-reflection and found some inner peace, all because of an American panda. What do you think? Was there anything I missed? Are there any other movies you'd like to see a deep dive on? Let us know in the comments below, and until next time, I hope you can find your